Yeah, everybody, you know what that music means. Usually means it's a three-gun show, but this is something a little different. This is a little off topic. Don't know what we're calling it yet. Hey, Max, what should we call this?
I think we should call it Dave versus the Industry.
Part 1. Dave versus the Industry, Part 1 with Amax. I like it.
Yes.
So basically what we're doing here is you and I haven't talked in a long time. You and I haven't done a podcast in a long time. Too long. We haven't done a podcast in an even longer time than the last time we talked. And throw in that I've had like a bunch of life changes over the past couple months. And kind of want to fill in the Three Gun Show audience on this one and do it in a format that they're familiar with. But we're not necessarily going to talk about Three Gun here. If it comes up, we're going to talk about it. If it doesn't, we're not going to talk about it. It's not the focus of the show.
Right. It's been so long since we did a show that I started writing blog articles again.
Really? For what?
It's for Vortex. I'm not sure what they call it. They gave it some nerd name.
Well, so first off, if my voice sounds a little funny, I've got a little bit of the COVID-19.
So, too soon.
Still alive though, but I do have
Are you self-quarantining?
Right now I am. Just me and the dog. Right. I have a nice little tea going here, and I have some jasmine tea with ginger and a little bit of honey in there for my voice. So this is what it sounds like when it's well taken care of right now.
Very nice.
Very nice. So blog articles. You know what the best thing that has happened recently for content flow?
What's that?
So one of my my coworkers is an outdoor enthusiast, but he's not exactly familiar with AR-15s like we are, right? Like he's shot them before. He's not afraid of them or anything. He owns other types of firearms, but not necessarily AR-15s. Mm-hmm. So when I'm like, oh yeah, we got to do that, and that's and he's like, oh, so am I looking for the one with the carbine or the mid-length gas system? I'm like, no, this is the one with the mid-length gas system. And then he'll say, what's the difference? And then boom, 30 minutes later, I'm drawing shit on the desks, on the wall. I've got diagrams. I'm talking about dwell time and things like that. And then when I'm done, like he's sitting there, wide-eyed and bored as hell. And he's like, this should be in a blog post. I'm like, yep, you should have asked that before I just, ejected all of my knowledge upon you. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I get excited sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's
AR-15s, man.
Well, not just like AR-15s, but just like firearm concepts in general, and
heck yeah,
especially to someone who is interested in hearing about it, like if you've probably experienced this, like I've talked at many a girlfriend who gave like little care about what I was talking about, but they were just polite, but someone who actually listens to what you're talking about is pretty good. So my new coworker, Joe, he's a fun person to bounce stuff like that off of. And so I'm probably gonna be doing blog posts myself coming up here.
That was pretty much the genesis of my career change into the shot industry. So
really,
yeah, I got really good at that and needed to develop a skill set. And so sales seemed like a good application of that. And one thing led to another.
Well, you've always been, well, as long as I've known you, you've been a salesperson. But before that, you were a farmer.
Career, so yeah. Yeah, this is my second career. I was actually in the ag industry for, we'll call it 5 years. My post college years, I was in the industry for about 5 years, and then obviously there's internships and stuff before that. But yeah, no, this is my second career, and used all that downtime that I should have spent studying in college when I was on 1911forum.com. And paid off big. So how do you like me now, Dr. Bob?
I love it. Yeah, I mean, similar sort of thing to me, like but it's just with the career path in general. Like marketing was my major in college, and then I kind of went roundabout for a couple decades and into some other things, and then now back in marketing. So for folks listening at home, if like this is their first time, you work at Vortex Optics in Mill LE sales.
Yes.
And then before that, your break into the shot industry was with Arms and Arms, right?
Yep. And I was a salesperson / kind of assistant manager at your good old brick and mortar gun store, basically.
Right. One of the nicer ones I've been to.
Yes. They're in a very affluent part of town. We sold the good stuff to the rich people.
Yeah, like tons of STIs and Dan Wessons and JP rifles all over the place.
And Nighthawk and JP and all the suppressors. We had Schmidt Benders on the shelf. We had Collis on the shelf. Lot of high end stuff for a retail gun store, in addition to the Glocks and the Smith & Wessons and the stuff that you got to have to be a gun store. But yeah, we had some pretty high end stuff. So it was fun to sell. It was really fun to sell.
Yeah, bet. Expensive working there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man. Well, expensive and cheap at the same time, because like when you kind of like they make that joke, the what is it? The
Scotch, you're sold to the
Scotch
company store
on a beer budget.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, so once you got a taste for Atlas Gunworks and JP rifles and really nice scopes and stuff like that, like the other stuff, like the bulk of the things that are peddled in the industry just don't interest you.
Right.
So like when Glock comes out with a new pistol, it's like, so like cool. When another handguard comes out for an AR-15 or a new red dot comes out or a new flashlight or something like that, it's kind of like, cool.
How about like a different way to grip the front of your rifle, like a vertical foregrip, an angled foregrip? What was the grip pod bull crap?
Yeah,
not the grip pod. What was the other one? The fist.
There was one that Instructor Zero had. Yeah, it was kind of like to make a fist on the side.
Yeah, that is one of those things where when you watch like the promos and the videos and the Instagrams, like, okay, let me show you how I know that you got paid for this.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I mean, there's kind of two ends of the spectrum, especially behind the counter. You got the guys who are, and customers too. You got the guys who buy and sell guns all the time because they like buying and selling guns.
Horse traders.
They're literally like day trading guns. So
dude, they almost are like. So I know a guy that says that he's never lost money on a gun, whereas I don't think I've ever made money selling a gun.
Yeah, but that guy has safes, if not closets, full of guns that are junk to moderately okay, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we had guns, like we would take guns in on trade. I would buy and sell guns on trade, like not even thinking twice about it. Kind of your intermediate range 1911s, certainly any of your polymer frame pistols, AR-15s, all that stuff. It's kind of like, yep, here's what it's worth. Put it on the shelf, and it was a stock to me. Pardon the pun. And there were guys at the store who were like, they were doing this job for the discount, and they would look at that gun and they would start licking their lips like, man, that Glock 19 is super cheap. I think I'm gonna take it. Don't put that on the shelf yet. I'm gonna have to talk to insert owner's name. Whereas me, like, when on the other end, at this time, I mean, I was buying Atlas Gunworks pistols, and I sold about 20 Nighthawks and 20 Wilson Combats a year. And so, like, I had one of those through sales incentives and things like that. So when you have taste for that kind of stuff, it's easy for that stuff to kind of flow through your fingers. But when something really nice comes in and it's really nice and it's a really good deal, but it's still $3,000, like, I gotta find a way to make. Can I make this happen? Maybe I'll let it sit for a week. Maybe if it's there in 2 weeks, then I'll like. I got 2 AR-15s I'm not using. I could sell those. Maybe. I don't know, but it's summer. They won't sell super fast. So that so when I would get interested in something, it was something super top shelf.
Yeah.
Two guns slipped through my fingers that I wish I would have bought. One of them wasn't that expensive. One of them was they're both single stack guns. One was a Dan Wesson. I think it's a CSS, but it was 40 cal. It was basically their single stack specific gun. It was a really nice. It was a vintage of Dan Wesson where they were way underpriced for what they were. You were getting way more money for the gun, way more gun for the money. Excuse me. So it was a super good deal. But it was 40 at the time. I was working with another gun builder. I was like, man, it's kind of dumb to buy a single stack gun that's for a company that's not the one I'm working with.
Yeah,
so
I've done that.
I wish I would have bought that Dan Wesson 40 for sure. And if any of the people from Ards are listening that were working there at that time, they know exactly the gun I'm talking about, and they're laughing very hard.
This is the one that got away?
Yeah, just like that Katy Perry song. And the other one was a Wilson Combat CQB. It's very early vintage, but it was the black and green dual tone that I really want. Still to this day, I would love to have one in my collection for no good reason other than it was kind of my initial the initial hook on 1911s for me. Like that was the one that I lusted after really hard when I was like 16 years old.
Dude, you had me at black and green.
I know, right?
Yeah. Tell me it wasn't in 40.
It was not. That one was in 45.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
45.
So my first pistol was a 45. Springfield 1911 GI model. Still have it. And I did not understand at the time that was not the real Springfield Armory.
Yes.
Like that's how green I was.
Yep. But most of my COVID-19 defense plan, 50%, is chambered in 45. So.
All right.
Just so you know.
Bringing out the 1911s for COVID-19.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, man. You kick my door coming after my Cheerios, I'm going to put a 1/2-inch hole in your head.
Yeah. Unfortunately, mine's all 9mm now.
That was the smart play, but.
Yeah, like I still have all the, I still have that 1911 GI. I have not shot it in a long time because it's, as you can probably guess by the name 1911, it's not very reliable. So,
yeah, that one probably had some challenges.
Yeah, there were some challenges in that one. And then once, but again, that was my first pistol. So it was like, okay, well, this is just how it is, right? It's like, your first girlfriend in college is like always nagging you and riding and doesn't want you to hang out with your friends. And then you realize like, oh, wow, there's girls out there that'll just let you hang out with your friends and be nice to you. Weird. So
weird.
I know. So that's kind of what it was with the 1911. It was nagging me and it wouldn't let me enjoy target shooting. But then I got my first Glock 17 and it worked every single time without question. So that pretty much drove the next like decade of gun ownership for me until this time last year, I got my first not Glock since that first 17, and it was a STI DVC 3 gun that I bought for a smoking deal off of a friend, and shot that. Yeah, gotta love those buddies, and shot that all last season in 3 gun and in practice, and just absolutely love that thing. And then, so that made me think like, well, shoot, maybe I should get back into 1911s, and then
don't do it. Run away.
Yeah. And then the last pistol I acquired was the IWI Masada, and it's got a little Viper on top, and I like that thing because it's got the little cheater dot. So that's my current COVID protection is the Masada with the little dot on top.
Yeah, but like, so what is going on right now with COVID? I think I think we wanted to get to that because it's pretty much turned 3-gun upside down.
Yes.
For 2020.
So it's pretty much turned all my plans upside down. So spoiler alert for the people who don't listen to the 3-Gun Show very often. Or I guess let me catch you up here real quick. So I recently got a job at Stag Arms, and they've gone through a giant reorganization, and part of that is they hired a new marketing manager who happens to be me, which is awesome. And I think they made a very good move.
Solid choice.
Hopefully
Hit the button.
Oh, is the which one?
Hit the applause button.
Where's the applause button? Oh, not that one.
No.
Nope.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Man, it's been too long. We got to figure out what these buttons do. Anywho, so I'm the marketing manager at Stag Arms now. Along with that, they moved the company from Connecticut to Wyoming because freedom. And because of that, I moved recently to Wyoming as well. So I live in Cheyenne now, Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is about 66,000 people. And it's pretty amazing to live in such a small place. This is probably the smallest place I've ever lived, which is really cool. So I like it here. It's still pretty cold, which is a shock from coming from Round Rock, Texas, near Austin for over a year. My body was definitely not used to the cold, so it was quite the surprise. But anyway, so adjusting to that, get here. We've got all this travel on the schedule. My new boss, the president of the company, Chad Larson, is a 3-gunner as well. And he's like,
we call him Prius Chad.
We call him what now?
We call him Prius Chad.
Prius Chad. We'll have to tell that story, but we do call him Prius Chad, which is the most ironic thing in the world. But anyway, so Prius Chad.
Yes.
We're saying Prius like Toyota Prius. It's going to stick. So Prius Chad is a 3-gunner as well, and he worked for Aero Precision for a number of years and did a lot of travel to matches, and he is a big believer in supporting matches. I'm like, that's fantastic because that's something I like to do, and I believe in it as well, and I want it to be part of the marketing plan. So we totally agreed on that. Made a list of all the matches that we wanted to support, all the trade shows we wanted to go to, all the police trade shows we wanted to go to, that kind of stuff. And it's just been completely wiped clean by a dude in China that ate a uncooked bat and then spread COVID-19 to the rest of the world, allegedly. And it might not even be here. It might be some government bullshit. Who knows? I
think the media got a hold of it and started fear mongering.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into it, but I am of the firm opinion that someone's getting rich or someone's getting elected, and that's all that's happening because nobody's dying.
Yeah, that's true. So I've got a pretty big circle of friends through the 3-Gun Show and an even bigger circle of acquaintances. I know no one yet that has COVID. But the consequences are so scary, right?
Absolutely.
You could lose grandma or your dad who are of the age where it affects them more negatively than it does you, which will be like a common cold kind of thing, right? So they've got you, and so I trust the media slightly less than I trust politicians, which I trust slightly less than a pile of dog poo. So that's kind of my opinion on it. Like I don't know who to believe less. And
right.
So it's kind of a weird time. But on the other hand, like they're doing like actual lockdowns with no question, and people seem to be going along with it, even though they can't go to church, they can't assemble, they can't, have like a free speech or anything. So it's like, okay, well, there's the First Amendment, and all these amendments are going away. Meanwhile, people that have traditionally been anti-Second Amendment now realize that no one's going to save them because lots of police agencies and government agencies are completely shut down and or non-responsive to phone calls, and so they're gunning up. So maybe this is a good thing for the 2A.
Yeah, I think some aspects of it are good because definitely people are starting. Right now is snapshot in time. You sound like exponentially less of a crazy person saying I have guns in case society breaks down and people come to take my stuff, and
Right.
self-sustain. And what if emergency services are overwhelmed? I directly deal with emergency services. I'm telling you right now, they're overwhelmed or not able to function properly. So that is real right now. In certain areas, if you need help, nobody's coming for
Yeah.
a while, you know?
Yeah.
And so that part is good, but at the same time, it's ironic in that all these people who voted for some of these anti 2A measures, they're actually learning like, no, you can't buy it on Amazon. Yes, there is a background check.
That's
Yes,
a really
there is a
weird
waiting
thing.
period.
Like I for the longest time, I thought that was a bunch of crap that the media was spewing, is that people thought you could really buy guns. I'm like, who's dumb enough to think that you could do that? Like, who wouldn't just look up the law, or who doesn't know the law off the top of their head? But turns out a lot of people, like people were literally trying to buy guns on Amazon. They were literally trying to buy guns over the phone in different states and have them shipped to their house from gun stores. And apparently they've been kind of snippy when they've been told no. You saw
or they've tried to buy their way out of it. They're like, yeah, but if I give you $100, like, it's cool if I take this home, right? And they're like, no.
Well, and there was supposedly like the same things happening in California with the 10-day waiting period, right? They're like, okay, well, you can come back in 10 days, and then 10 days after that, you can get your ammo.
The COVID will be gone by then.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure, if it's even here. And then they're the gun store people apparently are telling them like, no, this isn't like our rule, dude. Like, this is the law, and you voted for this. And they're trying to bribe them, saying, oh, well, something can be done. It's like, nah, man, that guy loses like his livelihood if he sells you a gun and did it for $100 tip. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Something can be done in November.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all that stuff's going on. I mean, these are the same people who think that that's as plausible as shutting down non-essential businesses, and that's just going to magically not have some effect on things, or that there's people who can't shut down.
Dude, the economy after this is going to be an absolute wreck. Like,
I don't know what's gonna. It's gonna be weird.
So Colorado has I just got a text when we're sitting here from a 303 number. I'm not sure who it was, but one of my friends, Colorado, obviously, and said that Colorado shuts down tomorrow. And yesterday it was all non-essentials, and then 2 days later it's like completely shut down. And when you don't have economic activity like that, you'll find quickly that there are a lot of people that don't have savings, they don't have food, they become desperate, and poverty kills a lot of people. This is one thing people don't realize. Like, poverty kills really bad. It kills through starvation. It kills through people becoming desperate and committing crime, ruining their lives, possibly getting killed in the commission of a crime, and through suicide. Like, suicide is huge for men of actually our age, your age and my age, for financial reasons. Like, it's a lot of pressure being a man and the sole provider. And if you're now told that you got to stay home because of this magical disease that, is it even happening? Is it even that real? Or was it completely blown out of proportion by the media and the politicians? Politicians trying to get elected, media trying to sell clicks. Like, you're gonna feel a pinch. It's gonna hurt really bad, and you're not gonna recover from it right away. If you can bridge through credit cards, like, good for you. But now you're in massive credit card debt, and that comes with its own liabilities. So I mean, it's just a really bad situation. And you think of after a couple weeks. So, I mean, a couple days is really bad. After a couple weeks, people are going to start missing payments on stuff. And I feel like most small businesses after this are not even going to exist. Like, we're going to come up for air, and we're going to find out all these stores and everything are closed. And they're just going to get gobbled up by global corps.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not saying that these statistics aren't real, but like, by comparison to other things, like, it's a very small number. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's not serious, but I'm definitely worried about the effects on our communities that this is going to have. They've closed down the jails. They've closed down jails, and they've said they're not arresting people because they're worried about COVID spreading in the jails. Well, here's a thought. If you don't want to get COVID in the jail, maybe don't commit crimes.
No.
But that's the thing. That's like the catch-22. It's like you got these people in these positions where they have to decide, and there's no good choice. But and I think that's getting a bit further down the rabbit hole, and people want to go. Everybody,
Yeah, I was a little farther than I wanted to
this
go for sure. But
is living through COVID right now. So like we don't have to explain it to you. But I think maybe what's interesting from our standpoint is the first that anyone had ever heard of COVID-19. Well, at that point they were calling it coronavirus. Was that SHOT Show?
okay, so I had not heard of it at SHOT Show, but I am convinced that it is the air quote SHOT Show crud that people got this year.
I go back and forth on that. I'm not sure because some of it matches up and some of it doesn't. But in our case, I'm speaking just as my own personal experience. These are my thoughts and mine alone. But I work for a company that does business with vendors from China. We also have competitors who work with vendors from China. So
Well, and let's be honest, like SHOT Show has a massive Chinese preference or presence because of their manufacturing capabilities and
yes.
and probably some espionage as well. Let's be honest.
Yes. So there are a lot of folks from that area of the world that come through our booth. And
right.
some of the more nerd, I shouldn't use that word, but we have some guys who they read a little bit deeper into the media. They're a little bit beyond the mainstream or the cable networks. They're like finding that stuff where those networks go to find it. And they're like, oh, this is coronavirus thing going on in China. Have you heard about this?
Like the
No.
deep web or deep news type dudes, or
Yeah.
Are we talking like InfoWars, or are we talking like the streaming YouTube channel guys?
Something like this. All I know is I have this guy who comes by our desk making the rounds, and he was like, oh yeah, have you heard about this? And he's like, I'll read up on something that I've never heard of. Like, but he's partially involved in the international stuff. So he's, I guess it's more in his lane to know these kind of things.
Sure.
But anyway, they're like, yeah, there's coronavirus. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And basically, everybody gets sick everybody air quotes, everybody gets sick at SHOT Show every year.
Except for Dave.
Yeah, I never get sick. I haven't. So I'm also, and it's kind of my running joke too. This is my tongue in cheek, meant in good fun to the other guys in my department. But like our running joke is that they get hurt or sick every time we go somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is not inaccurate.
So my joke is like, I don't get sick at SHOT Show, and that it's a choice. Like getting sick is a choice, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that to an extent, right? I also believe in germs and things like that. So I understand that.
Germs. I also believe in hangovers.
Yes.
And eating bad food.
And I also believe that like Vegas is like an absolutely filthy place, and it's a desert. And if you come from like a humid place and you go straight to a desert and you're breathing indoor cigarette smoke air,
there's a lot of cigarette smoke.
Yep. It's going to jack with your lungs. The other thing I believe is like, if you sit and tell yourself, close your eyes, and count to 20, and the entire time you're counting to 20, you're thinking about a virus infecting your lungs. Like, you will get sick. Like, you will yourself to be sick, right? Now, I know that's competing with me thinking about germs and stuff, but I do think that the people who pre-decide, like, I will go to SHOT Show and I will get sick, always get sick. So yeah. I do the opposite, and it pisses a lot of people off, turns out, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it does.
I say, like, I don't get sick at SHOT Show, and I will not get sick at SHOT Show. And I always joke about not washing my hands, although I do. But
that's the thing is my roommate, who is one of my colleagues in LE sales, he got sick on like I'd put it about the third day.
Okay.
And he got sick to the point where like he was like, dude, I have to go back to the room. And then one day he was like, dude, I'm not coming down. I'm just staying here.
Oh man. So he was pretty messed up then.
Yes. And early on, I felt bad later. But early on it's kind of our joke. Like, are we going to the ER? Because we're going now, not at 10 o'clock. And
is this the guy I know that had to go to the ER one time?
I have taken this person to the ER before, and so, he really was hurting, But it's fun to make fun of because we're dudes.
Right.
And
that's what we do.
So, but yeah, so the second date, I'm like, so what's up, buddy? Like, are you? And he's like, dude, it's so weird. And the thing that I remember, aside from just being like sick, like, cold, flu-y type stuff.
Yeah.
He said he got the chills. He would get
That's
weird temperature swings.
Yeah.
He would say he would be too hot and then he couldn't get warm. Then he'd be too hot and he couldn't get warm. And that stuck out to me. And time goes on and the show ends. And after the show is the after shot match at Pro Gun, which me and Verge are definitely staying for.
Right.
Well, the day of that match was the day. Well, no, I stayed in the room with the sick guy. So about that Saturday, that's when I started getting sick.
Oh.
I started getting it. It wasn't too bad when I was there. The Sunday when we were leaving, it was starting to set in, and it was weird. And I was starting to get the chills. I will remember the chills because I've never experienced that before. So I was definitely down with something by the time I got home. And then I had about a day and a half of like sleeping off whatever this thing was. And then I went back to work and, a little, stiffly stuff like through the rest of the winter, like I normally get, but nothing crazy. And,
so how long were you out?
A day and a half.
Okay.
So about a half a day and then a full day working from home, just getting caught up, but staying home.
Yeah.
Still working. And then I went back to work the next day. And then, Rachel, my fiance, she does trade shows too. And about a month ago, she came home from a trade show.
Different industry.
Completely different industry. And kind of the same thing. So it's kind of like, it's just kind of, we're exposed to that kind of stuff because we meet a lot of people, we travel around, it's just kind of the nature of the beast. And so the whole time it's kind of the background joke of, I got the corona, blah, blah, blah. And the intensity of it is ramping up. And I lose track of the timeline now because I travel so much. But it was to the point where when it really started ratcheting up, she was on her way to a show and her boss was on the way to a show. Her boss was getting on the plane the next day for like a TriggerCon size show and gets called up. Show is canceled. Like they already have all the reservations. They have all their tickets. They've shipped all their stuff. Their booth stuff is, sitting on a pallet there waiting to get set up. Show's canceled. And that was the first sign of like, all right, this is getting weird. And then, going down the line and trade shows start getting canceled to include NRA.
Yeah. NRA annual meeting. Supposed to be my it was supposed to be the first time, first NRA annual meeting. It was supposed to be the first show that I was, completely in charge of the booth from top to bottom and getting it to the show and design and display and all the swag and this and that, the other thing, everything that you can possibly think of to go with the booth was supposed to be my responsibility, and it was just canceled.
Yep.
Thank God we didn't have our booth out there already, but
yeah. Thank God they canceled it early enough.
Yeah.
But and then I had, I still have stuff scheduled to travel to, and one of those was a training down in Tennessee. I signed up to take a class at Tactical Response for a week. It's actually 2 classes because there's a prereq to that class that you have to take. So I was down there for a week, and during that week is when everything really started shutting down. Like California freaked out, and then New York freaked out.
Yeah, like sheltering in place kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just kind of ratcheting down the whole time, and it's kind of like I'm kind of like, well, they only run this class like once a year, and I really wanted to take this class.
And it might help.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're pretty much
skills might be useful soon.
Yeah. Shooting your way out of an ambush might be helpful soon. And at the meantime, while this is all going on, Tactical Response is kind of like the nerve center for the prepper-minded dudes.
Yeah. So I was just about to ask you, like, what did Jaeger think about it? But what did all the other people think about it?
I didn't see Jaeger very much while I was there. But like, part of this class, part of the requirements, they have a thing called the team room, which is Jaeger's basement with bunk beds. So students can stay there for free.
By the way, we have a team room here at my house too.
Yeah.
It's guest bedroom, but
totally going to use it.
Yep.
But part of this thing, because the class that I was taking was small unit tactics. And so part of the class is that you have to all stay together in the team room. So you're kind of all together the whole time. And we can get into that later. But so I'm in this room. And so, there's a guy from Texas and there's a guy from Florida and there's a guy from New York. And so the theories are flying around. Oh, this and that and the other thing. And it's the government taking over and they're pushing us to see how far they'll let us take away their rights before we push back. And I mean, all stuff that is theoretically true. But like at the same time, it's like it's the perfect place to mess with your head when you're only getting bits and pieces also of the news, and then, my fiance is starting to get worried because she's home alone and watching all this stuff unfold. And, I mean, everybody's kind of this has never happened in any of our lifetimes. So, nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, around the time that you were at Jaeger, not just because you were away, but partially because you were away. Like I was sitting around wondering, like, what's going on? Like, what do I do? What should I be focusing my attention on right now? For me, that was like, okay, well, let's go find as much water as we possibly can, and mid to long-term food storage. Like for me, I'm a single dude, and so I don't really do the Costco shopping, for the month kind of thing. So I usually just shop for a few days and then go for a few days because it's like, something to do after work or whatever. But and I guess I like cook fresh food, but I quickly changed that up and I was like, okay, well, now I got to go to the grocery store, but I got to go for 2 weeks. And that was a weird thought to have, is like, shit, what if I don't get to go to the grocery store for 2 weeks? Like that's, like you said, it sounds so like entitled American, but I've never dealt with anything like that in my life other than backpacking.
My worry the whole time was if they were going to shut down travel. Like, because if they're going to shut, even if I would say as of this recording, that's still an if they do that, like they're not going to give you to do it effectively. They're not going to give you a warning. It's just going to be, and you can't go anywhere.
And you're stuck where you are.
Yeah. And so it's like, man, am I going to be stuck down here? So that's what kind of my finger in the wind was like, are they going to stop travel? And we got to about midway through the week. And then when it was ratcheting down even more, and we were at another local business that's in the industry, and they were saying, oh yeah, they're going to shut down the interstate system. The military is going to take over the interstate system and it's just going to be open to trucking. And I'm like, well, because I drove down there. So I was like, well, they do that. Like, can I get home? The answer is obviously, of course you can get home. There's enough, highways to take the long way. But still, it's like, if that's where we're at, like, am I going to run into like checkpoints and roadblocks and have to explain why I have 5 SBRs and 5 suppressors and a bunch of ammo and body armor? And like, is that going to be a thing? So that was the whole thing. But then, go back and talk about it. There's a guy who's in the Marines. He's like, dude, to shut down one freeway interchange, one ramp, 4 ways, that would take 20 dudes to do that the way the military does it. They don't have enough dudes to do that. Just, they don't. There's not that many people in the military. So he's like, that's a little far out there. Well, now, do they have enough drones to chase you? Like if you're out driving and they see you and then, they come chase you down, maybe. But that was my worry the whole time going home, was like, and then also there was talk of, so we're in Western Tennessee. To get to where I go, I basically have to travel the length of Illinois. Champaign, Illinois, basically banned the sale and transport of firearms.
Right.
So I'm starting to wonder like now, and one of the things I was communicating with headquarters here on is like, hey, I have to come across Illinois with all this stuff that Illinois doesn't like. Like, if there's real bans on that stuff, will you let me know? And of course the answer is yes. They were monitoring that, but like, it was kind of like, all right, I'm leaving now. And they're like, okay, you'll be good. And I was like, just in case, maybe stay by your phone tonight.
Yeah. Promise?
Yeah, promise. So, yeah, I basically drove straight through Illinois. Didn't have a problem. The state actually at 3:00 that afternoon, and I left at 5. 3:00, supposedly the Illinois quote unquote air quotes shut down all services, all non-essential, everything. And, rest stops and everything were closing. I don't know what it means for a rest stop to be closed. But the one that I stopped at, that means they turn off half the lights and they lower the flags because you can still go inside and use the bathroom.
So that's the level of closed that Cheyenne is right now. Like,
yeah.
We have bars, restaurants, and I guess, I don't know if cafeterias are a thing here, but bars and restaurants are closed. Gas stations don't have like food on the rollers, but they'll make it for you. And you can get takeout from any restaurant in town pretty much. Some of them are delivering. The Uber and the DoorDash thing are not really a thing up here very much, or at least there's not like a great network of it like there was in Austin. So it's kind of catch as catch can, but you can like drive up to the nicest steakhouse in town and like a waiter will come out with your meal and hand it to you.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's kind of business as usual. Like last week, there was very little cars on the road and it was like almost eerie driving around where, it seemed like a ghost town. It was really kind of creepy. It was like driving around at 2 a.m. at 2 p.m.
It's a little like that here. Especially if you drive around like the malls and stuff. Cause as of today, as of this recording, Wisconsin went into that phase of, they call it safer at home.
Yeah.
So
that's where I was going with that is like, we don't have any of that here in Wyoming. Yeah. And, so I'm still going to work every day. Our company has, said like, you can, work from home if you want, but, we're currently at the point of moving to Cheyenne where we have 3 people in our office and we're all more than 6 feet from each other. So we're all like, okay, well, the collaboration of some of us is kind of important. So we're going to kind of do that as long as we can. And for me, it's a good thing too, because I wouldn't have anyone to interact with, because it's just me and the dog and I don't know anyone here yet. So it would be really weird. So I'm grateful that we're still able to do that as a company. But like I said last week, it was almost eerie, like how ghost town it is. And then today it feels like nothing's going on other than there's no people parked out in front of restaurants and stuff like that. There's like even a ton of people on the road. There's a ton of people at gas stations. There's a ton of people at the grocery stores. So it's very different here.
Yeah, they've kind of instituted that same thing where I'm at. People on the production side and on the warehouse side, their workstations are in such a way that they're compliant, and they've kind of deemed that essential function. But I went in yesterday, actually, to get the microphone for this podcast. And so I went in during business hours, and I was surprised how many cars were there. Because, all those people were there. But when you cross over into the office side, there was only one person.
Oh, okay.
So only Ryan was there.
So in our warehousing, shipping, receiving, stuff like that, they've gone to 3 shifts to minimize the amount of people that are near each other.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, if you go to 3 shifts, you basically drop your staff in thirds, right? So it's like a thirds in the morning shift and thirds in the swing shift and thirds in the night shift.
Yep.
And I thought that was like super clever to continue production, but to continue production, continue shipping, continue all that good stuff, make sure our customers get the products that they need. But but also minimize the risk to our employees, which I was like, damn, that is clever. And like, it's really cool to be a part of a company that cares that much about their people, as well as their customers to keep the doors open, you know? And same as you guys, Stag Arms is a essential business because we're a defense business. So we're doors open and machines cranking and Dave posting on Facebook and other people doing the work.
And that was the thing when they shut down the schools here about a week ago now. So that was one of the concerns is like, you know, even if people aren't feeling sick, if they have children that they have to watch, they might not be able to come in. So one of the things was that we might need volunteers in the warehouse to pack orders. And I shot my hand right up as like, I'll go in and pack orders. You know, I'll be first and last. I was actually kind of excited to do it. So far that team has been reporting in and they haven't missed a step, but, you know, we're right there to, you know, because I believe I am more concerned about our communities and our economy getting through this than I am about getting COVID-19. That's just me personally. So, it's far more important to me to, you know, keep orders going out the doors to our customers and trying to keep our, you know, Vortex is a very big business for this area. So like, you know, for it to stay moving in a positive direction has a direct influence on our community. So that was important to me. Same thing. You know, I know both of the police officers in town. One of them's my neighbor. I was kind of like, hey, dude, if you guys need help, I don't know what that could be, but if holding down, you know, our community gets to be more than a 2-person job, please come get me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was more important to me than trying to hide in my basement from some disease. Yeah. Even if I get it, you know, I would say the greater good's more important.
You know, that's like actually a really good offer. And a lot of times that help ends up being like, hey, can you check on my family or something like that? Can you hold down the home front while I'm, you know, out here for our community? So
if you need me to ride with you just so you don't have to go out there alone, you know, or
exactly.
Whatever.
Someone to talk to or whatever.
Now, by interest, so we kind of have that compliant, you know, on the northern side of the country. I think we kind of have, I'll say culturally, our people are a little bit more sheeple. Like,
yes,
if people tell them to stay inside, they'll more or less stay inside. Now, I talked to somebody today from a jurisdiction that is very much in the south, the southeast, and he said down there it is absolutely crazy because their governor kind of made he made the speech about how everyone should do this, but he didn't escalate it to the point of being a statewide executive order. And some local municipalities are starting to do it, like at the county and city level. And he said it's just crazy down there because everyone is there. We shall not be governed. We will do what we want. So he's like, more people are out than ever, just rebelling against the government because their county's telling them to stay inside, so they're going outside.
That's all. That makes me happy, actually.
It kind of does me too, and that's also so that's where I was when all this was going down. I was in Tennessee.
Oh, nice.
Tennessee, like, I mean, man, you know, Copperhead Road, man, they're nobody's telling them what to do. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting because, you know, we are still, you know, doing business and whatnot. So I talk to people in different corners of the country. And it's amazing, or it's interesting how different it's being handled in the culturally different parts of our country.
Yeah. And when I say that, you know, not much is different here in Cheyenne, like I saw, okay, so first of all, we have like 600,000 people in the state, which is awesome, by the way. Don't move here. We're full. I just made it.
Yeah. I want Vortex to go there.
Well, you guys can come. We'll talk later. But
it's not up to me.
I know. But anyhow, so when I came here, like I joined a bunch of Facebook groups that are all like Wyoming based, just to like see what was going on, you know. And like it's really funny to watch people in the smaller outlying town, or not outlying towns, the smaller towns around Wyoming, talk about the crazy people in the big city, which is Cheyenne, city of 66,000 people, and how they're going out of their minds and buying all the toilet paper and stuff, and which is true. There's no toilet paper left. But it's funny because they're like, well, yeah, Rock Springs, you know, we still have soap, and we got toilet paper, and we got groceries, and like, you know, no one's going crazy like in the big city. And then it took context for me to figure out that the big city they were referring to was Cheyenne.
Jeez,
it's all relative, man. It's all relative.
Yeah.
But
like bringing it back to the industry, like, so while this is going on, the big shows that people know about are SHOT Show, NRA, and then to be, you know, on a even smaller scale, Trigger Con. But going on the whole time, especially, you know, for your business and ours, on the LE side, there are a lot of LE trade shows and conferences, more conferences. Pretty much any region that you could classify into a region has a association of SWAT officers in some way, and they get together every year for a conference.
Yep.
So any major state, any major region, and then a national. I mean, there's lots. You could go to a SWAT conference or a firearms instructor conference or an LE something or other conference. You could go somewhere every week, somewhere. You know, gatherings of 100 to 1,000, you know, officials from municipalities, and they all have vendor areas. And springtime is a popular time for this to happen. So those have been falling off our calendar like crazy. Because COVID-19. B, because of COVID-19, all of a sudden their agencies are overwhelmed. So ain't nobody going anywhere except out on patrol.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Well, so we should wrap that up. So it's unfortunate. It is something that, you know, I wanted to do was hit up a lot of those shows and get Stag back in the marketplace, because, you know, we have like really cool products now. Like we kind of delineate ourselves between like old Stag and new Stag. Like new Stag has a lot of cool products. Like I remember Stag Arms for a while just being like kind of stagnant in their product development, and we got cool shit now. And I want to show people, and we can't. So it's been kind of frustrating. Missing NRA was frustrating. So my boss and I were both supposed to go shoot Superstition and do a demo booth there. Our company canceled travel for the entire company, which makes a lot of sense. But unfortunately, we had to back out of that one. We still sent a bunch of prizes, which was great. Let's see. Texas Three Gun, just heard they moved. There's USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals and PCC Nationals both moved. To October is going to be lit or boring as hell. Haven't decided which yet. Yeah.
And the same thing with Shooter Source.
And
then we were going to do the Shooter Symposium on the tactical side, the tactical instructor side.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who had an event in the spring here seems to think that, we'll just move it to the fall. But
there's already events in the fall.
I'm here to tell you that I have two busy seasons. One of them's the spring and one of them's the fall.
That's correct.
There wasn't a whole lot of room there before. So looking behind the curtain, I think, which is part of what we were trying to do on this episode. So you got all these matches moving to the fall. The unfortunate part of that is, people already made their schedules for the year. B, people can only go to so many matches at a time or in a month. Even if you were allotted PTO time to go to match A and match B, but then match A and match B are in the same month, there's still the logistics of a lot of people. You can't take that much PTO at one time.
Yeah.
Politically in your job.
Well, and I've got a friend that has an agreement with his wife that he'll do one match a month.
Yes.
And that works for them. That's their agreement, and now it's not like you can go do Shooter Source in October and Texas Three Gun in October, and I don't even know when Texas Three Gun got moved to, but yeah,
it got moved to October.
Great. So
that's the thing. And then on the other hand, you got our friends at Shooter Source and at Texas Three Gun who have these events lined up, and they're kind of like they've got all the sponsorship on board.
Yep.
They were counting on this revenue for whatever ventures they got going on and whatnot. So they have this event, it's all queued up, and they kind of have to do it, like to say, yeah, we're not going to do it. Some of them, I don't know this specifically about those two that I mentioned, but like some of them might have already committed financially to some things.
Yeah, so like a range rental.
Yeah, like a range rental, or they might have
porta potties.
They might have bought targets, or they might have bought insurance, or who knows what it is. But they might kind of the train might have already left the station, and so they kind of have to do it, even if they're going to get half attendance, or people really like their match, but they really like the match that was in October, but they really want to do this match, so they decide to do this match. Well, that other match now they're getting draw away from theirs, and so the sport as a whole, I think the water level is going down because there isn't as much participation because there's too many big events in one time slot.
Yeah,
is the concern.
It's a tough spot.
It's a very tough spot.
Let's talk about the Three Gun season remaining. There's one that I want to talk about, and then one that I know you want to talk about. But let's take a quick break, and then we'll regroup and chat about those.
Right on.
All right, and we're back for part 2. Recharged, took the dog out to use the bathroom, made myself some more tea to help my voice here. Hey, Max is back.
I am here.
Hey, Max, one interesting thing about where I'm at right now is you can see way more stars than you can in Denver because of all the light pollution in Denver. But
yes,
just on the edge of town. By the way, there is an edge of town here. Like the town actually ends. Like the roads don't go any farther.
Yes,
and there you can see all kinds of stars. And that's one of my favorite things to do is look at the stars. And that was what I really enjoyed about when I was traveling around for the Three Gun show. So I got to spend a lot of nights sleeping on ranges in the travel trailer that I had. And it was always fun to step outside, stare at the stars, contemplate how insignificant everything is. One of my faves.
Part of my soul will always live up in the mountains. I really like the mountains.
Yeah.
Backcountry snowmobiling was a big passion of mine, and man, I would love to do more backpacking and stuff like that in the mountains. It's just not the same here as it is out there. So I'm kind of envious of your proximity to all that stuff.
Buddy, come on out, man.
Yeah,
we'll make it a time.
A really good career evolution, and then ending up in a really cool place. Like there's lots of I have no desire to leave where I am now, but if you start to run down the what if game or the Kim's games of what would I do if life changed tomorrow, it's like a lot of companies that I want to work for are in places that I don't want to be. So it's really cool that you found a job that you wanted for a company you wanted to work for in a pretty cool place to live.
Yeah, for sure. I tell you, when I left Colorado, I looked hard at Wyoming and I looked hard at Texas, several places in Texas. Ended up going to Texas just because I knew more people, right? And then this opportunity with Stag came up, and it was the absolute perfect opportunity for my skill set and my personality and things I like to do, as well as a great new start for the company and a great place to be. Very fortunate that I'm only like hour and 45 minutes from all my friends in Denver, which I will never ever see again because of COVID-19. And and then turns out where I found a place here in Cheyenne is it's about 6.1 miles from a mutual friend of ours, Forrest Lathrop, and he moved from Loveland to Cheyenne to get away from the Colorado crazy. So just happens that, you know, a guy I've been shooting with for 7 or 8 years is just down the road. So we've spent a bunch of time together. I did travel for one event, and he and his girlfriend watched Parker, and he's got a couple dogs and 5 acres. So Parker came back happy and tired, which was awesome. So yeah, it's a good move, and I'm happy to be here.
I can definitely relate with that too. My move to Vortex, I don't know if I could have done it if my friend Ryan and Ruben weren't already here.
Yeah.
Not that I was incapable of making, you know, a leap out on my own without, you know, friends, but friends being here and being very happy with the decision, saying, yes, you should come too. It made leaving Minnesota, which was a hard thing for me to do, easier for sure. So I'm glad that Forrest does that for you there too, because I think it's a really good spot for you.
Yeah, it's important to have good friends, you know.
And that's the other thing too. I think you know, talking, you know, kind of industry insider stuff, like for us, it's cool to get hooked in with a strong company, but also being kind of young in our careers, it's nice to latch into something that has a lot of room for growth too.
Yeah.
You know, Vortex is very big in some of, all the consumer markets. They've been very consumer focused for most of their time. The LE and military side of it is fairly underdeveloped. So when I got the chance to get into that side of the business, it's cool to be a part of something, a strong company in an area that has lots of room for growth, that you could, you know, that we can have a lot of the sweat equity in building something up.
Yeah.
And that's part of what excites me about your move to Stag. Stag's a very strong brand, but, you know, a brand that's kind of been neglected in the space for a while. So like there's a lot of up potential that you could be a part of the growth. It's one thing to kind of take over something that's, you know, like take the reins of something that's already winning, but it's kind of cool to also, like, you know, it's almost like digging like that really, really cool muscle car out of like the back of somebody's shed, like taking a tarp off of it. Like it needs a little bit of work, but there's plenty of horsepower there.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy. I like that. And that is pretty much what Stag is right now.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like, man, a little elbow grease and you could take over the world. Mm-hmm. And you can be there when it happens. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. The other cool thing is, we have a marketing department, and currently there's one dude in that department, but it's not always going to be like that. So I get to be the start of growing that team as well. Another exciting thing about like coming and moving into a different job is, and you probably felt this as well at Vortex with Travis Vogel, right? He's good, good friend, but someone you didn't know nearly as well until you got there, right? So
yeah,
we've got a couple great dudes in our organization now that both moved to Cheyenne as well. They both made moves from different states, and one of them, Joe, is our internet guy. I guess he's like the director of commerce or something like that, commerce manager. I don't know, but he does all the technical things on the website that I don't know how to do. But we work so closely together because the marketing message needs to match the products that we have, and the products we have need to match the marketing message and things like that. And so, we're constantly going back and forth. And from this is kind of weird. Like I met him at SHOT Show. Like I knew that they had hired someone, but I met him at SHOT Show when he knocked on the hotel door and he's like, hey, I'm Joe, I'm staying with you. It's like, I'd never met the dude before. It's like, okay, well, so I guess go ahead and sleep 10 feet from me. That's not weird. And
keep your hands where I can see them.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your earplugs and keep your hands where I can see them. But yeah, so like you said, those relationships are all about it. And like I said, our president's really cool. Our board of directors is amazing. They're super supportive of what we're doing, and we've got awesome awesome customers. And turns out like there's a lot of lefty shooters out there that are super passionate about their left-handed rifles. And Stags.
Where my people at?
Yep. So we'll get you ejecting the correct direction soon.
Well, so you brought up the presidents. We have to tell that story.
Oh, the Prius one. Chad?
Yeah.
Let's do that another time. We'll just have people wondering why it's Prius Chad.
Why it's Prius Chad.
We'll have them wondering for a while why it's Prius
Chad's
Chad.
going to be wondering why it's Prius Chad.
I know. So from what I gather of talking to Chad, I think he's just a couple years older than me, but since he started driving, since he was 16, he's never driven anything other than a Jeep. And the fact that his nickname is Prius Chad with you just cracks me up.
Yeah, because I need to associate people with something to have any chance of remembering their name.
And why not a Toyota Prius?
Yeah, we can knock this out really quick.
All right.
So we're at the SHOT Show Agency Arms party. And
Agency Arms / Arrow, I think it was this year.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they did a little co-branding.
Yeah, so we're there. I catch the bus because I had to stay at the booth till the end. Dave was already out there. So we met up with them and, hanging out and doing the Agency Arms party and whatnot, waiting to see the helicopter shoot the stuff, which, spoiler alert, is way cooler on Instagram than it is in real life. But it's over. We're like, all right, well, it's time to head out. Okay, you guys leaving? And so they're like, all right, well, we're getting in this car, and it's like a Prius.
It's literally a white Prius. Yeah,
it's a white Prius wrapped in some weird wrap that looks like a freaking rally car.
Well, it looked like a rally car / bomber. Like it had like the B2 bomber girl on the side, right?
Yeah,
and it had rims.
Yeah,
and Chad was driving, so you just assumed it was his car.
And this was their rental car, and so like it's me and Dave in the back seat, Chad and his lady in the front seat.
Yep, his girlfriend.
Yep. So they give me a ride back to town. No big deal. And later, Dave and I are talking about something, referencing, oh, yeah, like Chad. And I was like, Chad? Who's Chad? And he's like, my boss. And I was like, oh, Prius Chad. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the guy that was driving the Prius at SHOT Show. And he's like, oh, that's too funny.
Yeah.
But I now forever associate Chad with this Prius rental car that they had at SHOT Show. To me, he's always Prius Chad from here on out. He could get elected president of the United States. He'd be Prius Chad.
So he actually drives a Jeep Gladiator, the new pickup truck Jeep thing.
Oh.
And it's like on 37s, I think. And then before that, he had I don't know, maybe it's 35s. Before that, he had a 4-door Wrangler on 37s. Like with big axles and stuff like that. And both of them are like really sweet Jeeps. I've ridden both of them. And then apparently growing up, he had like a Cherokee or something on some big tires. And so he's big into the outdoor life growing up in Eastern Washington. And a lot of that's like four-wheeling, which is very similar to like what I did in my college days with my my roommates, So
yeah.
So this guy who's never run anything other than Jeep, and they all ride on like 35s or bigger, is known as Prius Chad. And the reason he had that Prius is the guy that
it looked like a hotel rental or something. Like it wasn't even a real rental car. It's like, well, you can rent this for an hour if you need to go somewhere.
Exactly. So the guy that transports our booth and sets it up for us also owns a vinyl shop, and which is great, right? Because like, what are booths made of? Vinyl, like vinyl wraps, and that's how you change things. So that works out well. But then his car was wrapped, right? And that's his car. So what he does is he loads our booth in his semi-trailer, or it turns out it's his dad's, in his dad's semi-trailer, and then he loads the Prius in the back of it. And then when they get to Las Vegas, he unloads it. He unloads it, and then that's his drive-around car if he needs it, and then he unloads the booth, and then they put the booth up and stuff like that. And so it just happened to be that he wasn't doing anything that night, so he's like, hey, you want to take my car so you don't have to get a rental? And here you go. So that's the story of Prius Chad.
I know Dylan Easley's listening, and he likes to make stickers sometimes. So Dylan, we're going to need you to make some Prius Chad stickers so we can go tag Dave's boss's Jeep.
Yeah, leave me out of that one. That's all you, buddy. Good times. Okay, so we that was a fun story to kick this off with, but I want to bring it back to put a bow on the COVID thing real quick. So, and then I want to do some happiness. So, one of the big bummers that of the COVID canceling a bunch of matches thing is a Girl in a Gun national conference was going to be April, May, end of April, early May. And Stag Arms we were going out there and we were holding classes on how to build your own AR-15. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. And so we were bringing receivers and pins and detents and barrels and handguards and all that stuff. And the ladies would be able to go to their, the events that they choose in their Girl in a Gun catalog. And one of those events was build a rifle. And so we would get to teach them how to build a rifle. And can't do that now. And I'm really bummed about that because it was supposed to be a ton of fun and a ton of rifles to build and everything. But Robin and Juliana, they're super clever. And so they moved the whole thing online. So in the next 3 weeks here, my coworker Joe and I get to build an AR-15, film it, and make it an instructional series for their ladies who are going to be building their own AR-15s at home now. So it's like a virtual class.
That is pretty cool. I have a tactical trainer that's been trying to do that as well. He's been trying to do online seminars to kind of bridge this gap. Mm-hmm. In times where you can't be close to people.
Yeah, so, they're doing their entire thing. Like they have a lot of defensive trainers. They have competition trainers, and they're all doing everything online. So it's going to be interesting to see what those ladies come up with because they always put out like a good product, but yeah, it's a challenging time, and they're just being clever and adaptive.
Yep. Same thing. Atlas Gunworks is trying the same thing. They're actually going to film, or they put it out to the team to film a bunch of segment videos or video topics for a series of videos they want to come out with. So they're going to be doing that kind of along the lines of the same thing. Excuse me. It was going to be more of like a making masterclass thing, but they kind of rebranded it or went in a different direction with it. With all the new gun owners kind of around this whole goings on, they were reframing it to be more approachable or palatable to the entry level person. The thought being that hopefully someday they associate that with Atlas Gunworks and someday they're an Atlas customer. But right now,
makes sense.
They thought that media attention was more important to put towards people who are coming into our community, don't know anything, instead of shooting them to pieces on ARFCOM, like let's give them some good information to be welcomed into our community. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that, I had forgotten. You had told me about that and I had forgotten about it, but it's a shame that they're not going to be able to do that in person anymore. But it is cool that people are using kind of that ingenuitive spirit to, make lemonade out of this whole thing. Staying in your basement and waiting for the apocalypse is the easiest thing in the world to do. Trying to keep moving in some kind of direction while comply is kind of a dirty word, but like while
being responsible.
While trying to be responsible in what's going on in the current environment, but still trying to move the ball forward. Yeah. My hat's off to you. I'm trying to do it myself, and anyone else who's in that frame of mind, like it seems there's fewer of us than there are of them, but like let's keep it moving because this thing is going to be over, in days, if not weeks.
Don't do anything you're going to regret.
There's going to be a world after then. So, keep moving in that direction and keep your eyes on the horizon. So I'm super encouraged by hearing about other folks that are doing that too, because when you're at home by yourself or with, a couple loved ones, like it feels like you're the only one.
Yep.
I mean, that's part of what they've taken away from us in all of this is kind of our sense of community. They put you in your home by yourself and all you have to do is listen to the news and consume that.
Exactly. Which I don't listen to the news. So I'm just kind of in the dark.
Yeah. Hide from the thing and be afraid and wait for the drug that's going to cure you.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about happy stuff. All right, so high five to Girl on a Gun. Looking forward to creating content for them and hopefully a good experience for their ladies. And maybe next year we can do the in-person build a rifle sort of thing. But let's move on. You and I do this thing every year. I've joined you for the last 3 years. And you've been doing it much longer than that, called the Jeff Kirkwald Memorial 3-Gun Match.
Yes.
Are we going to do it again this year?
Heck yeah, we're going to do it again this year.
On your calendars?
Fortunately for us, it's in August. August, I think it is the weekend of August 22nd and 23rd. If that falls on a weekend, it's within one day of that.
Yep. All of you should come join us. Some of you won't be able to because of the COVID thing.
Yeah, but a ton of you.
3% of you won't be here with us.
Yes, and like the other 97% of you had a match booked this month that you didn't get to go to, so I know you have room in your budget.
Yep.
And your wife said it's okay, so you're just going to default. You're going to punt to August, and you're going to come out and you're going to shoot with us. And Forest Lake, Minnesota at the Forest Lake Sportsman's Club. We do it, I say we do it club style the first day, or we have a bay match the first day, 5 stages of what you're used to. We use those stages to accrue scores. Scores are used to seed everyone into a bracket. And then from there, the bracket is head-to-head shoot-offs, like reminiscent of the 3-Gun Nation style that inspired it. Head-to-head in 2 brackets, and then everyone who gets eliminated in the first round goes into the second chance bracket. You can come all the way back through the second chance bracket to face off against the winner of the primary bracket for the overall Universal Grand Champion of the Galaxy, and win it all. But that's kind of the context of it. Is we use a 3-gun. We have stages one day, we have a shoot off the second day. Lots of side matches and stuff going on. The Haunted Hayride just down the road, they bring a bunch of props for us to use. Last year they gave us some prison buses and some gators. We're for sure going to be shooting out of something that moves this year. I'm working on that something being a midget pickup truck with crawler tracks. Still negotiations on that. But
that's like his daily driver.
I know, right? I mean, he might be wanting to trade up. Who knows?
Let me jump in real quick here, because you said we do it club match style the first day. You undersell it a little bit, because I think that there's way more going on than a typical club match. There's a lot of thought to go into these stages. Like Amax said, the props are always over the top. There's always fun, moving, challenging birds. Last year there was a rabbit, which ate a lot of people's lunch, including mine. Always a lot of fun flying birds, though. And there's thinker stages. They're not the typical stages where you go up and you're like, oh, okay, that's how to shoot it. There was legitimate arguments on 2 of the stages last year of the correct way to shoot it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, bro, are you kidding me?
Or maybe I forgot. I am unapologetically, though, a fan of circus targets. So, like, all the whiners who don't like things that fly in the air and whatnot, like, that was one of the things that got me into 3-gun. So I guarantee you there will be birds flying in the air. Well, it's kind of our options now that we get. Yeah, options.
The options are what create the arguments.
Hey, man, I wasn't in the Marine Corps, so I'm not here to tell you what to do. But, and then it's kind of become our shtick now. We got to get that rabbit machine somewhere in it. So there's going to be a rabbit.
Hopefully from a vehicle.
Yeah, right. It's going to be hard. But yeah. and Forest Lake doing a bunch of dirt work this year. So there's going to be some new bays, hopefully built by the time we're done. And then really excited this year, we all do it. It's 100% for charity. So I started the match, or we, a collection of friends, started it in memorial, or as a benefit for one of our friends who died of a brain aneurysm. And it's kind of morphed into a pretty serious fundraiser for wounded veterans of the special operations community. We have changed foundations this year, but I'm super excited about it. We have joined forces with Memorial 3-Gun. So they are a powerhouse match in their own right and a powerhouse foundation. And we are, by our powers combined, like Captain Planet, we're just going to like go forward and just, do a lot of good with it. But I'm really excited to be partnering with those folks again, or not again, but for the first time this year. And there's a lot of enthusiasm in the Minnesota 3-Gun community for supporting wounded veterans, through this medium. So we've traditionally been able to generate over $20,000 last couple of years for wounded veterans. And Travis is the sponsorship coordinator, and he's got his goal set for 30 this year. So we're gonna see if we can do it. But I try to put on a match that's worth twice as much as your money. It's to the point now. It's grown to the point now where I couldn't stop if I wanted to. It's too special to too many people that the show must go on.
There's a ton of travelers now.
Yeah, we pull from. I know we pull from at least 5 states. Probably more now. I probably put it at 6 or 7 now.
Yep.
Initially I tried to put it on. I wanted it to be a major match, whatever that means now. But now I think it's more important to me to put on something special for the people that come, and to generate a meaningful donation to help the wounded veterans, because even professionally I get more and more involved in that community. It just hits a little bit closer to home every year. So it's a really special event. It's a really special cause, and it's got a life of its own now. I just facilitate. So
let me ask a question. Can I come this year?
I don't know. What do you got?
Well, I was thinking we could, while they're doing the shoot off, we could do like a little 3-gun show kind of thing.
Oh, you want to do the 3-gun show like during the shoot off?
Yeah. What do you think?
It's a novel idea. I think we could
Just
try
might
it out.
work. Well, hear me out. We get a couple microphones. Okay.
Yeah.
We get a couple speakers, and then we just talk through the whole thing and annoy the shooters as they're shooting.
Well, maybe we'll wait till the second round.
Yeah, this time we'll wait till the second round.
Dave is part of what makes it special, because on the second day, I mean, there's a lot of shooting going on, but really only a few people can be shooting at a time. So it really brings together kind of the festival atmosphere. We get the music going and all that stuff. I put up a tent so that Dave doesn't get too hot
Or too wet.
Because
it's been both in years past.
Yes. But it's really special to have everybody there, shooting kind of in a Coliseum style event. Everybody kind of laughing, joking, harassing, and Dave doing the show. It's like I said, it's got a life of its own now.
Yeah, we've always got like a co-host. We have guests, and some of the sponsors will come up. In years past, we've had family members of Jeff come by the booth, and I think we've gotten even a couple words out of some. They're very grateful, but also very humble. So
very shy.
But we do get a lot of personalities on the show throughout the time that we're there. It takes a village to talk that long, and it
certainly does.
It's a ton of fun though, and I think it really adds something to the atmosphere if I can be so bold to talk about my own work. But I think that when we started doing that, it just it accelerated. Like it made it a pretty big deal and a lot of fun, and people really enjoy that part. And then the whole world gets to hear about the match the next week on the Three Gun Show podcast as we broadcast it. But the but man, if you're shooting and you're shooting to win, do not listen to what Dave and Travis are saying.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So we do the scaffolding there. We play music during the first round. We take requests, mostly Katy Perry requests. We'll get you through.
Some Britney Spears.
We usually kind of try to stick to 90s rock, which is always crowd pleasers, but not so much Nine Inch Nails. I learned the first season, but but yeah, it's a fun time, and I gotta say, like, it's one of the highlights, if not the highlight, of my Three Gun season. I really enjoy going to the match. Really enjoy doing it. It's always super fun stages. I love shooting the shoot off. Although it's gotten big enough to where I probably shouldn't shoot the shoot off anymore. I need to be on the microphones, but just such a fun format and a very unique format, and not something you'll find anywhere. And I know that anytime I say that, someone's like, "Oh, we did a shoot off over here at this club." Like, I know, but not at this level. Like,
same but different.
Same but different for sure. You know, it's all shoot offs are fun. And I love when other clubs do them and stuff like that. But Adam and the resources and the relationships that Adam has created over the years with like you said, the haunted hayride that lends us a ton of equipment for the match, just bring it to a different level. So most value for your dollar, I would say, for a match. It's still inexpensive. It's still reasonably priced, and limited to a number of people because of a bracket size, right? And just a fun all around time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we cap it at about 120 people. That's what I publish on Practice Score. If it's a reasonable number, though, I'm going to try to accommodate everyone who wants to shoot. So this year we actually got soft permission / ask for forgiveness later to use the for those familiar with Forest Lake, we're using the bay 6. So the bay that we typically use is bay 4. Traditionally, that's been the longest bay that we could shoot in. All the others were much smaller. They have done an addition on the other side that's of equal size, but there's some like land use easement type issues with doing it over there. Minneapolis PD kind of bulldozed right through that, and so they kind of got, well, I guess it's okay to shoot here now. So we can have 2 full-size shoot-off bays this year, which is new. So the first round will go twice as fast, literally, and we'll be able to run down everything in 2 full-size bays. So that's the new and exciting for this year, is that the big show is going to be even better because it's going to get to the big show much faster, and the people who get knocked out in the first round are going to have a full-size bay for their second chance qualifier as well.
Nice.
But like I said, I mean, I'm super blessed to have such a good support structure there, especially since I'm no longer local to that range. The match simply couldn't go on without the support of the Minnesota Three Gun Group proper and the greater Minnesota Three Gun Group. And then obviously, Dave and Travis, and Rachel and Ruben and all the people who put in so much work on it to help. It couldn't go on without the support structure that we have. So very blessed that we have a lot of people who are as passionate about it as I am, and so we can put on an event, like I said, that's pretty special and certainly worthy of twice the amount of money you're going to pay to shoot it. So,
dang right. Can we talk about the Minnesota 3-gun culture real quick?
Sure.
Let me tell you something. So last year, I wasn't.
Jeremy Gresham style.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. So last year I wasn't able to make it for setup. I think I drove all the way through. Maybe I stayed somewhere. I can't remember. It was a really long drive from Austin. But when we woke up and it was time to go to the range, I was thinking on the way there, like, okay, so I wonder how all the ROs are going to be this year. Get there, RO squad, exact same people as the year before.
Yes.
That does not happen at matches. like you have like a dedicated group of people that are passionate about the sport, about the match, about the cause. It's cool.
Yeah, put it this way, I used to worry about having enough staff, like losing sleep over it. I don't anymore. We're very blessed that we have a group of people that helps year after year after year with little variation. And, you know, when somebody can't or doesn't want to or whatnot, there's somebody to fill their spot. So been very, very blessed in that regard too, that people donate their time to do it. And that's the culture. And I can't take credit for that. That's the Minnesota 3-gun group that did that. They built it from the very beginning, and it's survived for quite a long time. That it's a takes the tribe kind of mentality for the events to go on like they do at the scale that they do as often as they do. So
yep.
It's kind of one of those things. I mean, me personally, the big match that they put on is the Tri-Gun. I personally would rather work it than shoot it seriously. It's more fun.
Yeah.
To be a part of the group that puts that on than to try and win it. So, it's circling back to kind of our butchered season here, like we basically, the whole spring schedule has basically been nuked. So we're going to roll into maybe May, matches, might start happening, but I mean, Tri-Gun in June's probably going to be one of the first.
Yeah.
Whenever whatever this is over.
We're still we're supposed to be doing the Big Bend Blast and Dash, which is our 5K running gun that we do in Rama, Colorado.
What's the date on that?
It's supposed to be July 10th. But I'm honestly not sure. Like I don't know, cuz like really, are we going to be done with a pandemic in 2 months?
Yes.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
So July 10th.
July 10th. Checking my schedule right now.
I said 10th. I meant 11th. No, wait. I'm sorry. It's June 13th. Wow. Jeez, Dave. It's co-match director for you. So June 13th, which is the that will be.
Oh, June 13th. That's totally different.
That's way different. Jeez, Dave. June 13th is the Big Bend Blast and Dash 5K running gun.
Still plenty good though.
Cool. So fun thing this year. So we did a 3-gun match the first year, and you have to run with all your guns. And so we staged your shotgun, and the logistics of staging that caused like a minor headache. So we decided to roll it back to a 2-gun match. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, being only rifle pistol, now eliminating the shotgun, we can open up to PCC. So you can choose to do PCC as well. Now, if you're a gamer, you're doing the math. How much weight do I have to carry for 5K with 147 grain 9mm versus 55 grain 223? Now, is that going to offset? Now, how much brass is there? What does that cartridge weigh? Yep, that's what you got to think about.
Let me save you the math. The 9mm is heavier than the 223.
But how much heavier?
Enough.
And can you hit a 350-yard target with your 9mm?
Well, I mean, I just got one of these new ones from Stag Arms, and I hear it's pretty good.
You let me know. I'll send video.
Oh, I'm gonna yeah. Rach and I are gonna dope this thing out.
Did you get the pistol? Did you get the 10.5?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
nice. Or she did.
Only SBR is allowed in this house. Let's just say.
So I think I'm going to do the pistol for the Big Ben Blast and Dash, the 10.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 9 mil though.
All of our PCCs are short.
I gotta get that Glock drum mag.
Ooh, that's true. That's true. Oh, industry story. Should we tell the story about my safe?
Oh yeah. So we got about 15 minutes left on the clock here. So yeah, let's tell the story of your safe, and then we'll wrap it up and say goodnight to folks.
Not bragging. It's just kind of a funny story. So
I'm jealous. First of all,
I'm sorry. I get, so Shango Boom, it's kind of a big personality, right? Always rocking it. I have to admit, the story gets a little out of control on the daily. When the little hashes on the top get to be more like periods, I kind of.
Oh, the Instagram story? Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of swipe left.
Yeah, he does that to me too. He's like, "Hey, did you see my story?" And like, no, unless you tag me in it, I did not see it because you've storied a lot, bro.
Your story is a lot. I can't. I just can't sometimes.
You story like a girl at Coachella.
So anyway,
write that down.
Yeah. Anyway, he calls me one day, like in the middle of a meeting or something, and I don't answer, and he doesn't call me very often. I mean, DMs quite often, texts sometimes, calls never. So I'm like, oh, all right, and then I get the text like 3 minutes later, call me. Like, oh, this will be good. And then another missed call and like 3 more texts. I may be exaggerating. I don't exactly remember, but eventually I get around to calling him back. I was like, hey, dude, what's up? And he's like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. A little bit of small talk. And then he's like, see, do you like Cryptech? And I'm like, you mean like the camo pattern? Yeah. Do I mean like as a color, like as a style? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's not quite multicam, but it's, and
yeah, it's not God's plaid woodland, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Right. And so I was like, yeah, I like Cryptech. And he's like, well, good. Because, that contest we were running on my story. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, the contest we run on my story. I was like, sure. He's like, well, you won. And I was like, what? He's like, you won the contest. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry, Sean. I'm a little scatterbrained here. What did I win? And he's like, you won a Rhino Metals gun safe wrapped in Cryptech.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, shut up, dude. Like, I got a lot of work to do. I can't do this right now. He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, seriously? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no. He's like, yeah.
So what did you do to win the safe?
It's one of those deals. And ironically, it was like, so it was like a week after I did that post on my story where I was, because people get this, there's all these, that's the fad right now, right?
Oh, the challenges?
Contest. Yeah, the challenge. Like, you got to like our page, tag 3 people, and comment below.
Oh, yeah. You posted that thing.
So I get tagged all the time.
I do too, by the way. Chad, love you. Chad, shit. 3-gun Chad.
Yeah.
Why is this not working? Chad.
2D Chad?
2D Chad, yeah. Why am I blanking on Chad's last name?
It's like, Torres.
Torres, god dang. That was hard.
Oh, man, that's 3-gun show history right there where Dave couldn't remember a name and Adam remembered it.
Yeah, so 2D Chad Torres. Yeah. Yep.
So, shoot, I wrecked the story because, a week or two before, a week before this, I was so annoyed with people tagging me in these contests. I was like, if you tag me in a contest, we have to split the loot.
That's the rules.
That's the rules.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. And then Jack or Sean calls me up. He's like, yeah, dude, you just won a Rhino Metals safe. And like, I don't know if any of you have been on the market for a safe lately, which I have because I needed one. Because mine's full. And they're not cheap. So he's like, yeah, you want a Rhino Metals safe? I was like, dude, like, I can't today. Please, you're messing with me, and I just can't right now. He's like, yeah, still gonna need a shipping address. And I was like, okay, what do I do? And he's like, I'll make the introduction. Basically, like DM this guy and give him the address. And I'm like, oh, cool, yep. And like, I'm like, sorry, I just still catching up here, little speechless. What exactly did I win? And I mean, they sent the thing to me. It's what is it? A 36 gun. I mean, it's not small. It's like 23 inches deep. It's like 40 inches wide, and it's kind of the short. So like in the Liberty world, it's called like the Fat Boy or something, right?
Yeah.
Not small. It's the same size as the safe that I have now, and I was just, my jaw just hit the floor like, oh, I couldn't. They're like, yep, Kodiak, Rhino Metals Kodiak's going to be there. And I was like, okay, so like, what do I have to do? They're like, just give us an address, we'll ship it. I'm like, yeah, right. You guys are still messing with me. Like, I wasn't fully a believer until that truck pulled up outside my house.
Sean's kind of a jokester.
The day before the quarantine, quote unquote, happens, this guy shows up with the safe in front of my house. And sure enough, there's a gun safe shaped box in there. It's the only box inside this semi trailer. So this was either the only delivery this guy had this day or it was the last one. But yeah, they wheel it up there, pull it off, and this thing, I mean, I'm just floored. This Rhino safe is freaking awesome because aside from like all the stuff that other gun safes have, like, you know, like the keypad and, you know, the carpet on the inside, and you can configure the shelves. It has this thing like in the main compartment. It has this rack that folds out.
Oh yeah, like or the like a whole rack of guns swing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that on Sean's. That thing is really cool.
Yeah, my favorite part, like even more than like being a safe, like to not have to take all the things out to put the things in. That's so cool.
And how it's like wheels on luggage. Like, how long did it take to figure that part out?
The fold out thing?
Yeah. Well, no, like for someone to invent that. Like for years we've been taking I just need to get my P90 that's in the back there, and you got to take out all your damn bolt guns and all your shotguns, and then find the P90 in the back, and then put everything back in.
Oh yeah, entirely too long.
Too long.
And that's the that's the $1 million idea that you wish you had, right?
Yeah, right. Like I said, it's wheels on luggage.
Well, backing up to Arms and Arms days, when I first started at Arms and Arms, they had some gun safes, and they had some from a fairly Reed Customs was who it was from. Very nice safes. They were made out of the special metal that you couldn't cut through with a grinder and all that stuff. They were they charged 2 or 3 times what most quality like Liberty and Browning and what's the other company, Fort Knox or whatever. They're much more than those, like twice as much more. But I was like, the reason I wanted it was because they had the shelves were on sliders on ball bay, like a tool chest.
Oh,
whole thing slid out, and I'm like, that's it,
bro.
So this is a good compromise,
dude. You could totally do the ball bearing thing in your other safe that you already have.
Yeah,
cheap, like McMaster Car, bro. You familiar with McMaster Car?
I'm not.
It's
not
just a
DIY, Dave.
It's a supply house that anyone can buy from. You can buy everything from like washers, socket head, cap screws, all the way up to like full conveyor belt setups and ball bearings. Like we got a lot of ball bearings there and linear bearings and slider drawers and shit like that when I worked at Lockheed Martin. And nice. I can help you pick some out if you're wanting to do something like that.
We'll talk offline.
Well, we should talk offline. We can retro. Ooh, you know what we should do? We should build kits, patent it. $1 million.
Yes. Maybe don't air this show.
Yeah. This idea will cost us thousands and make us hundreds.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing, kind of like the cherry on the top of the thing. So, of course, I mean, normally I'm not super stoked about showing safes, my safes,
right,
in like on the Instagram.
But it's Cryptech.
I was like, but I want it, you know, like they gave it away to promote it, so I kind of feel obligated, like, and they did. They hooked me up. I'm like a Rhino guy now. But so I got this safe. It's about the same size as the safe I had before. Now, the safe I had before, I recruited Ryan and Travis to help me put it in my basement, which was quite an ordeal. Well, because that safe's about 800 pounds.
Jeez.
Got the refrigerator mover from the hardware store, and Ryan the whole time. Ryan moved a lot of safes in his retail days. He's like, oh yeah, easy, no problem, blah blah blah. I mean, 3 guys, way too many. We don't even need that many. Like, it's super easy. You have no idea how easy this is. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that 800 pounds is a lot, Ryan. And so we go down and get it, maneuver it in, start going down the stairs, and like, they're like, yeah, you get behind it. We'll stay up here and we'll hold it. I'm like, that seems like a terrible idea. And they're like, yeah, if this thing goes, like, it's not going to go. But if it goes, like, just jump on top. Or, like, get out of the way. Like, it's just, yeah, it'll be fine. Just jump on top. You'll be fine. Like, what? What are you talking about? No, it would smash me against the cement wall. I'm pretty sure I would die if you let this thing go. Yeah, but that's not going to happen. But if it happens, that's what you do. And so, and every step all the way down, just boom, boom.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it gave Rachel nightmares for like a month. She wasn't watching. She could just hear it and feel the house shake as it like went down the stairs. So Ryan sees this on my story that I won safe. He's like, hey man, that's pretty cool. And I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, by the way, not helping you move that in your basement. And I was like, but the door comes off, because the door is what weighs like 200 pounds.
Oh, the door's the heavy part?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm pretty sure the door comes off this one. He's like, maybe I'll help you move it into your basement.
Well, if the door comes off, it just becomes a sled down the stairs, right?
Well, yeah. Well, it becomes exponentially lighter.
Oh.
So,
but you can ride it.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, because last time when they were like, you got it down in the basement, they're like, well, if you ever want this thing taken out of here, I'm sick.
Yep. Selling it with the house. We will rekey it for you.
Yep. And it was the same thing. I was like, man, if I get another safe, I'm hiring that done. But I got this one. I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's got the hinges where it's like you could lift the front door off there. I'm like, man, if you lift the front door off there, it's not as bad. So I don't know. Right now it's a garage safe, but at some point it will probably be moved into the interior of the house.
Of course, as all good safes are.
But man, having a garage safe, despite the security compromise of having it in your garage, like, it's pretty nice.
Super convenient.
Yeah, you're unloading from the match, or you're on your way out the door. Just tap it on open, and it's pretty easy. It's pretty convenient. I don't know. It might grow on me.
Maybe you have like 2 levels of storage, like your you've got the fridge, but then you've got the freezer, and then in Minnesota or Wisconsin, you've got the deep freeze. Maybe that's what you got. Like, you got your hip, or you got the garage safe, or then the deep storage is the basement safe.
Yeah, the good stuff will definitely stay in the basement safe. Stuff that gets used on the regular might get voted to the garage safe. We'll see.
I like it.
But a big shout out to Shango Boom and Rhino Metals and Cryptech for doing that contest, and super grateful for the safe, and it's super awesome. If you're in the market for a safe, you should definitely check out rhinometals.com. And if you're trying to hide from stuff, Cryptic is where it's at, because it'll definitely make you not look like a person.
But what about Woodland?
I mean, I feel like they do a Woodland Cryptech.
Woodland? Oh, no, not Cryptech. Like the original, what is it, like M81 or something like that?
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
God's Plaid. That is
that
is everything should be that. Everything should be Woodland. Now I think about it.
it's kind of funny when you go on a military installation now and or like at one of those training things, and you got the guys who are like super high speed, low drag, but they got their finger in the air enough to wear the BDU Woodland pants.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, I know this isn't the uniform, but it used to be, and you're not the boss of me, so I can wear this. It's pretty funny,
dude. So like, I don't know, like Woodland was like on every GI Joe I ever had. So
Heck yeah.
and it was on Red Dawn. I mean, like to me, that just like screams camouflage.
I mean, I'm a big history buff on the Vietnam era, so I'm more of a tiger stripe guy.
Okay.
Myself,
Okay.
but I'm just OG like that. But I respect your love for the Woodland.
Thanks,
for
buddy.
sure, because it was a very significant era in U.S. military history.
I think it was Cold War.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we didn't really fight any big wars with it, but that's still cool.
But if we had to, they would never have seen us coming.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Well, so hey, congratulations on the safe. I'm actually in the market for one myself, so I will definitely look at Rhino metals now. They're now on my radar. They were not before, so that's good. It's working.
Yeah, and talking about old school garments, you'll like this story too. So I was at Tactical Response, right? And I was doing tactical response stuff, and there came time to drag a downed shooter. And I was shooting a suppressed rifle. And for those of you who don't shoot suppressed rifles very much, we're going to talk about this in a future episode.
Yes.
But one of the things you need to know before you get anywhere near a suppressor is that they get very hot. Very hot.
Mucho caliente.
Yeah. And so my 185-pound inert buddy was dying, and we had to get him on a stretcher, and I needed to help. And so I thought in my caveman brain, what I need to do is go hands-on here. So I need to throw my rifle on my back, which I do all the time.
Oh.
Dude, however,
like
I do not do this.
My
with
butt
a
just
plate
clenched.
carrier on, which I had on. So when I got to the part where it usually just kind of slides down and rides on my back like a backpack, it instead sat like a monkey on top of my plate carrier and pressed that several 100-degree hot suppressor into my neck.
Oh no!
Yes.
See, I was thinking that tramp stamp gap that's between the plate carrier and your trousers. That's where I was thinking was getting burned.
Ooh,
but it turned out it was your neck
as well. But no, right on top of my neck. One of the guys asked me, like, "Did you hear it sizzle?" It's like, dude, I'm the only one here shooting a suppressor. There ain't no way I would have heard it if it sizzled, because all you guys were still shooting.
That's the bad thing about suppressors, man. Like, so
I know.
So let's tease the next episode, but Dave is very suppressor curious.
Ooh,
especially after a conversation with a good friend of ours, Jeremy Gresham, involving 300 Blackout.
Ooh, they got you.
Yeah,
you're hooked already. You don't even know it yet,
dude. Okay, yeah. So, hang on a sec.
Anyway,
so we make this. We make 300 Blackouts a stag. It fits. It makes sense. I've already talked myself into it. Now we got to pick out the suppressors.
Do you still got the old school handguards that are like 2 inches in diameter?
No, like something that's going to suck up a suppressor. No, we don't.
That's unfortunate.
Is it?
It's okay though.
Okay.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's cool points.
Well, we don't need to talk too much about it now.
Right.
Remember teasing.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a super cool idea. But again, suppressors get super hot. So if it goes under the handguard, what gets super hot right under your hand?
Handguard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay. So it's a good thing.
Seems like a life hack, but
I mean, it looks cool as shit when the suppressor is inside the handguard.
Heck yeah, it does.
Me personally, like, so I know that I think JP makes one, and I know several other people.
Seekins.
No. JP makes one.
Lancer?
Odin makes one. They
Odin makes one,
make a 5.5-inch PCC barrel with a 16-inch pin sleeve around it that your bullet passes through, but it's not touching anything, so it's not barrel, right?
Yep.
And then that goes into your handguard. Not for Dave.
Nope.
No thread in the needle for me where my hand will be. Ooh, write that down. No thread in the needle for me where my hand will be. But that kind of goes for suppressors too. Like, I think it looks cool, but I don't like putting my hand around the suppressor when it's going through there because I know that baffle strikes can happen. They're rare, but with a barrel, there's much more meat there to protect your hands. So for me, like I don't want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, burn the shit out of my neck. And
burn the shit out of your neck.
Where I was going with that, so we get to the QRF and we extract the casualty, high fives and handshakes, and we're resetting for the next run because at this class you basically rotate through. Everyone has to have a leadership position, so we do the drill till everyone gets a chance to be the team leader. And so it's like, all right, guys, like how bad is this burn? And they're like, it's pretty bad. I was like, is it like, do I need to go to the hospital? Like, no, it's not that bad. And I was like, you sure? Like, I'm not going to feel stupid later for not like calling time out and like doing some first aid here. Like, no. They're like, it might hurt though if like your sling touches it. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true. And one of the guys, my new friend Dan, he was like, hey, I have a schmuck if you want it.
Did it stick to it?
Yeah. To this point, I have not been a schmuck guy. Is that the right way to say it?
Shemag, I think.
Shemag. What the scarfy thing that the tallies wear.
I think turtleneck is how I've heard it pronounced before.
Yeah.
It's Swiss.
Yeah. Anyway, past me was like, that's an effing scarf, and I ain't wearing that shit. Now all of a sudden, the sun's starting to come out.
Oh.
And I'm starting to feel a little sunburn.
Oh, no.
And I'm kind of like, that seems like kind of a neat idea right now. Could I borrow yours, please? And I have to admit, for all of you out there who are too cool to wear one, pretty legit. Pretty legit. I have invested in one myself. So if you need yourself a little bit of camo, cover up your pasty whiteness on your neck and add a little bit of Arab style to your life. I highly recommend the whatever it's called.
The Shemag.
The Shemag.
You know what's funny? Like, I don't...
it is OD, though, so it blends in with stuff.
Oh, God, OD. I love OD. OD, everything should be OD.
So OD.
Everything that's not God's plaid should be OD.
Boom.
So I don't like the Shemag because I don't want to appear to be a DB poser. However, I think it was 2 years ago, Tactical Shit gave Shemags away as like a I don't know, just like your with your T-shirt or whatever at Texas 3 Gun. And so I got one, right? And so it's like, well, okay, I would never purchase this, but because I have one, I will use it for things. And man, best neck sunburn mitigator ever. It's useful for so many things. It keeps the wind off your neck. Like I was wrong.
Hot. I thought it would be hot.
No, it's not hot at all. I was absolutely wrong. The other thing is like
H bandage.
I'm sorry.
It's practically an H bandage.
Yeah, basically.
If you need that.
Becky Ackley showed me that if it's like super hot outside, you can actually dunk it in water or pour water on it and then put it on your neck. And now it's like has cooling properties. It's like, oh, geez.
Yes.
This thing is super useful.
Because it rained most of the time. So this one was wet.
Yeah.
And when I put it on there, it felt super good.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, it's legitimate. All right. Buy yourself a scarf. That's what you heard.
Like cowboy hats make a ton of sense. They look super goofy. Can't get with it all the time. These things, you're not going to be cool, but man.
You will be cool.
You're
not going to be cool, but you'll be cool.
Yeah, you can't really pull one off unless you have a beard to go with it. You got to have enough of a beard to be like, that guy's probably an operator, so I shouldn't make fun of him.
Well, that's the thing is like I don't want to pretend like I'm an operator or something like that. So I've never really been like into it, but I must admit like the usefulness is off the charts.
Right?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey Max, we've once again completed one whole revolution of a podcast, my friend.
I hope it was entertaining for you folks. I'm not really sure what we got to the bottom of, but I hope it was a good ride and you got to wherever you were going.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what we solved, but we did a lot of it.
Yeah, right? All that. All that. It's all for you.
That's what Michael Bain says about SHOT Show. He's like, I don't know what we do there, but we sure do a lot of it.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty brilliant. But yeah, so that is Dave versus the industry, and this is part one. In part two, if Amax is back on the podcast for that one, we'll discuss suppressors because Dave is super suppressor curious, and Amax has a lot of knowledge. I met a guy at TriggerCon 2 years ago. Oh, was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was 2 years ago. The first time I went to TriggerCon, I met a guy named Mike Pappas.
The Mike Pappas.
Which I didn't know at the time it was the Mike Pappas. I just thought like this guy's like kind of funny, a little crazy. And turned
got a little lightning in his eyes when he talks to you.
Yeah, for sure. Like I sat down with Scott McGregor at lunchtime on the range during my break. And Scott McGregor's like, Dave, you got to meet my friend Mike. And so met his friend Mike, talked to him a little bit, and turned out he was staying in the same place we were. So kept running into the guy. And then afterwards, doing a little bit of research, realized who the guy was. And I'm like, just because of what an incredibly like nice person and like a very interesting person he was, and how he kind he was to me, like knowing nothing, I should probably buy one of his suppressors. So we'll tease that because Amax has a lot of thoughts on those going forward. Adam, always a pleasure, buddy. Thank you for being here with me on what do we call this? Dave versus the industry.
Dave versus the industry. It's going to be a thing.
Part one. It's going to be a thing. Yeah, we're going to continue to do this. So this is for those of you that were expecting a 3-gun show.
We like 3-gun too.
We like 3-gun too. And this is going to come out in the same feed because I'm not exactly sure I want to start up a whole new feed for this. But this could be like a little intermission. But let us know what you think. Let me know what you think. If you like this, please don't be quiet, because if you don't like this, I'm not going to continue to do it. But if it's something you're into, we'll keep it going. So, hey, Max.
Are you not entertained?
Hey, Max, thanks for being here, buddy.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody.